Origami's your thing. You're shit out of luck. But if you want to power your business with creativity, you won't be a schmuck. You wanna paint like Van Gogh, you're shit out of luck. Wanna learn how to sing, you're shit out of luck. But if you want brilliant business ideas, we'll get you unstuck. Get inside the woodshed. Get inside the woodshed. Welcome to the woodshed.
Hey, it's Alex. We're in the woodshed again in the lobby of CPB. Got to thank those guys at Beacon Street for that opening music. Like, I love our theme music, and you guys were giggling along the way.
It's inspired.
You hadn't. It's weird. Sort of like a 70s sitcom is what we were going for.
But
Did
then
you
hit the
did
nail
we do
on
well?
the head.
Okay, they did well. We had a really good show, I think, today. We will find out, but I'm feeling pretty good about it right now. We've got Baboosha. Did I say that right?
Baboosha.
Baboosha.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about fuzzy slippers.
Yeah.
So if you want to know a lot about fuzzy slippers and marketing fuzzy slippers, you're in the right place. And I think everybody wants to know more about fuzzy slippers. So we got Frank, Heather, and Leo from Baboosha. And they're going to tell us a little bit about what they're up to. Then we're going to have a little bit of time where we got to riff and come up with ideas on how we can help you. Then we're going to get back together and we're going to see whose ideas did the best in the real world. Between Courtney and me, it's Courtney and Bogusky.
Shit.
Head to head.
Am I allowed to swear? No.
Yes.
Okay.
We prefer it. Yeah. So also I want to introduce Courtney Loveman, who is a strategist at CPB. And like always, we've got somebody new that comes into the shed to help me out because I need a lot of help. And you are here also because you got a little fashion expertise.
Little. Yeah.
I'm
a quasi-recovering New Yorker and accessories designer.
You were a designer for
Ralph Lauren for a few years in my early career.
Yeah.
And I played around with starting my own line of children's clothing. Now I just do accessory design in my spare time. And I do spare with air quotes.
Yeah, why do you have spare?
CPB.
Why do you have spare time? No, everybody should have hobbies.
Yeah.
So I don't know who wants to start. Do you want to start, Frank, and tell us what you're up to with Baboosha?
Yeah, sure. So Baboosha is an idea that's been in the making for over a decade. And just recently, when I finished my last gig in London, I thought to do something on my own and give it another go as an entrepreneur. As a child, my folks used to get these for us in a very basic version.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to glam them up, and we hired a fashion designer to put the final, the special touches and the luxe touches on them. And we started manufacturing them. They're handmade in Peru.
So did you grow up in Peru?
I was born in Peru, but I left when I was 5.
Because my parents were never bringing fuzzy slippers to me from Peru. So I was just curious where.
Yeah, as a kid, yeah. They gave them to us as treats, as gifts. And I wanted to share that emotion, that feeling with the rest of the world, genuinely.
Yeah.
Because I think they're wonderful. They're certainly unique. It's not something that people are used to having.
Mm-hmm.
Alpaca fur slippers. And the way we've done them, I think that certainly they're arguably the world's softest slippers.
Wait, I need to feel them right now.
Oh, you're ruining our hook.
But you just said softest, so I have to feel them.
They're insanely soft.
It is.
If you're watching the video, you can see, but I don't know if you can feel what I'm feeling.
Can you hear how soft they are?
Yeah. You can do that.
And that's, and I think we'll touch on this a bit later. I think that's one of our challenges, being a startup, a young brand, is that it's difficult to convey that
the multi-sensorial
feeling of softness through the channels that we use today.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Is the name? Will you explain the Baboosha?
I would love to. So Baboosha, what we try to do is try to become the owner of the name phonetically because it works in multiple different languages. In Spanish, it's Baboosha with a CH. In French, how do you say it in French?
Baboosha.
Babouche?
Babouche.
It's just cooler. It's the same, but cooler.
It just sounds
Yeah,
better
it
when
just
Leo
sounds
says
better.
In
it.
Italian,
Ouais.
it's Baboosha spelled with a C without the H. In Marrakesh, it's also
C'est des babouches.
it's a babouche.
It's a common Russian word too, right? Babushka.
Babushka. That's a
Totally
different thing. That
different.
goes on your head.
Yeah.
These don't work like that.
No.
So yeah, because it works in different languages,
Okay.
we wanted to be the proprietors of that in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why Babusha.
And so the what are the challenges that you're facing right now? What's the most difficult thing about this business?
Well, there's loads of them. I think first and foremost is really getting the how do we get people to understand it's not a cheap product. It's in the sense of price wise. It's $295.
It's a luxury
retail.
item
We aim for that. Yeah.
in every way.
We aim for that because of the materials, because it's handmade. The story behind it. It's handmade by artisan families in the Andes Mountains. But they're designed by a Parisian designer in France. So she designed all the stitching and the pattern and the fur on the inside and the logo and the stitching in the back. So one of the things that we learned about luxury, it's that, so when I had the idea and before I launched the brand, Heather gave me the idea. She said, interview people, interview as many people as you can. What are people looking for in luxury? And I went around with my little notepad and a couple photos of what I wanted to do. And I interviewed mostly women, and they all said the same thing, was attention to detail. So when I briefed our designer, that was the main idea. And it was kind of challenging to convince her to take this job. She's like, I don't want to do it. So it was like a couple of dinner meetings and a whole bunch of bottle of wines later that she agreed to do this, and she designed some pieces that we ultimately chose that we have here.
But
and then we took
they're
it to
really,
Peru.
I'm guessing she didn't design them while she was drunk. Like she
No.
sobered up,
No.
then began to design because they're really nice.
Because they're beautiful.
I
And,
don't
and the
think-
detail is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Question though, you call them slippers. I'm looking at them right now, and based on the construction, they look like they can also be worn outside. So
we spent a lot of time in R&D, and that was a hurdle at the time, was figuring out which sole to use, what material, and we tested many different things, and ultimately we landed on Vegetin leather because it can be used outside. Now, for light use, you go to the coffee shop, you go downstairs to check the mail.
Alex is wearing his to the coffee shop.
Yeah.
I have been experimenting,
Yeah.
doing social experiments,
Well,
wearing them out.
and we encourage you to do that because your feedback will be very useful. What we want to avoid is running a campaign where people are at a nightclub, for example, because then they would get dirty if they get spilled on. Now, because it's real hair, you can wash them.
Yes,
That's the cool part about
That's
Alpaca.
what I think is so cool about the Alpaca, because I do wear them. I'll wear them in the snow. I'll wear them out to the coffee shop, and like you can kind of, I don't hose them off, but you can brush them off.
Yeah.
And just like animals, most animals
They're
live
waterproof,
they live
right?
outside, and most
Yeah.
animals are waterproof. So
And,
No one's
and
laughing.
flame
Resistant.
resistant, I think, right?
Mikey's laughing at
It's
least.
like a
yeah.
class 1 fiber or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So they clean up just like I would clean up.
Right.
But
and
you're
so
saying
I love that.
But you're saying the focus still really, even though light use outside is still been on in home. Yeah.
But what do you call them? You call them a slipper? Do you call them a fuzzy slipper? Do you
I
not?
don't call them
you-
fuzzy slippers.
Yeah,
That's
I-
very American.
That's very American
Yeah.
of me.
it doesn't
Yeah.
do them justice either, because
Yeah.
they're
And
actually really
I
beautiful.
searched
Although I'm a
Amazon
Miami
for
guy.
fuzzy slippers, and you do get a thing that looks sort of like this, but it's a different thing.
Yeah, we
It's
haven't
more the
we haven't played that up at all.
Mm.
I think it's
Which-
on our
do
website.
you mean the fuzzy-
The word fuzzy.
fuzzy.
No, because there's no differentiation there.
Yeah.
If you go, you'll see loads of those.
Yeah.
Which
And-
really
and-
led to the brand positioning
Right.
of being something distinctive and yet really true to the reality of this fur,
Mm-hmm.
The ethical fur,
the ethical fur, but it's also the lustrous
the
idea.
lustrous.
Yeah,
So
they're
our
very
tagline,
shiny.
Our
Yeah.
tagline is, have fun, be lustrous.
Lustrous is an interesting word. How did you guys arrive there?
So it has a double meaning, lustrous because of the fur.
Yeah.
And the people who are customers, it's their personality. They have bold personalities. I mean, to wear these inside, to stay home. And Vogue did a little article on us last year. They did items for Netflix and chill, like when you stay home and watch Netflix, and they selected Baboosha as one of those items. If you're going to spend $300 for a pair of slippers to stay home, that says something about you, right?
Did you see an uptick from the Vogue mention?
Yes. Yeah. And it's crazy because every little piece of publicity leads to a different thing. We ran a campaign not too long ago and just recently, and a PR agency representing Sephora called us or emailed us. They contacted us, and they're doing a retreat for their client Sephora to launch a new makeup, skincare.
Makeup.
And so they're getting 20 influencers in a resort somewhere in Tennessee, and they bought 20 pairs. We just shipped them to them. They're going to have a big party and a big unboxing, and they're going to feature our slippers. And that came from some campaign that we did on Facebook or an article somewhere. So it's just, Leo was at the Milan, at the White Show. Do you want to tell them a little bit about that?
So I went to Milano for 5 days for the White Show. It's a kind of it's
fashion fair,
fashion
trade.
Fashion trade, and we went there and we win how do you call that?
It was a competition about for startup brands.
Cool. Because they say that it's a really original product, and they say that they have many hopes for us, and so we win the.
But we didn't win. We got second place.
Yeah.
Podium.
Then
but explain the story. Explain
because then
explain the story.
Then the owner, I mean the president of the White Show came to me and say, we gave the first position to those people because they came and they pay, but you were invited.
We were invited.
But already in my heart, you are the winner because you didn't bring anything, no merchandising, no ad, nothing, just you and your shoes, and everybody was around you, and they say it's really, I have many hopes for your brand.
And we ran a Instagram geolocation based campaign, so we put a pin on the address. And for like $150, we got
many people
tens of thousands of impressions. And people came up to Leo and they said, I was walking down the hallway on the other side of the exhibition, and I saw your ad and I came and I wanted to meet you.
So you brought along some advertising.
But there's a 30-second and a 15, and they're a bit different because of the music.
So you want to riff on ideas? Do you have ideas?
Well, I mean, one thing that just popped into my head when I watched those two videos is just, there's been such a movement, obviously, to like domesticity and staying in is the new going out and all of that stuff. But I feel like most of what I've read about that is saying that it's a reaction to how bad and scary the world is right now. It puts a very negative spin on it. So what I love about the video with the more upbeat music is just that you're not doing nothing when you're staying home. Like the idea of what's going on inside the house can be just as fun, just as exciting, just as interesting, just as sexy as what's out there in the universe, in the world. And so I love the idea for a brand that's trying to promote products that are meant for the home to own more of the like what goes on behind closed doors in a really fun way.
It's great to hear because we tried to convey that in our photography. So we've done 2 campaigns already with beautiful imagery, and it's a lot of that. It's, friends staying at home, doing their makeup or whatever, just hanging out, but having a good time inside the home.
Yeah. And chilling, you use the word chill, and chill's like really transitioned from like my generation as a word to being a much more, are you laughing because like,
I think I know what you're going to say.
It's,
no,
okay.
No,
just that it's very active.
It's more acceptable. It's before chill was like you're sitting on the sofa.
It's not nothing.
Stoner.
It's an active,
right.
It's an active. I'm gonna cook with friends, and we're gonna hang out. It's very intentional. Whereas the old chill was like checking out. The new chill is more like you're recharging with purpose. So that's I get that vibe from this. I go a totally different direction though, which is typical of me, maybe. But So my experiment has been to wear them out to places.
Yep.
And this morning I did it again because you guys were coming out, and I was in the coffee shop, and everybody's on their, computers and doing their thing, but I could see people like looking, right? And they're all trying to be cool, but they're like, what the fuck is up with that dude, right? And I guarantee you every single one of them is going home and having a conversation with somebody else. Like, there was this dude at the coffee shop with these like furry slippers on, is that a thing now? And everyone's going to say, nah, not really. Not that I know of. Right. So it will end there. Right.
Okay. But I could build on that. So can we make this not competitive?
No, it's not really competitive anyway.
No, but so the other thing that I started to think about when I first looked at the product was, and this gets a little bit, I think, to what you were saying about how hard it is to describe how lush and luxe and soft and is like pillows for your feet. So then I started to think about, it's really a home accessory, not a fashion accessory. And
that's interesting.
Fashion
too.
accessories go in and out of style all the time, and you're competing against things, other shoes. I'll get to the point of how it connects to going to the coffee shop and having people talk about it. Is I don't see this. Your clothes live in your closet. I see everyone having 3 pairs of these sitting next to their sofa for guests to put on when they come over.
Nice.
I see them at the front doors of everybody's houses. There's so much going on when you think about like sustainability and not bringing toxins into your home, and
home accessories
and like so
thought.
Being the leader of the like don't wear shoes at your house movement. And then these are this luxury thing that you slip into when you come into someone's home. It's a sign of respect. It's a sign of living beautifully at home. And then there is that element of like getting people to see them and talk about them, and then being a conversation.
That's the part that bugs me a little bit about the just chilling, right? Is that I feel like you got to get them out, and you got to get people out, because fashion has a risk element to it. And when you're at home by yourself, there's no risk. You could wear a trash bag, whatever, and it's fine. No one's going to see. You can wear no pants, which is nice. And wearing no pants is nice, but there's no risk. But that was the other thing I could sort of feel, and I was probably making this up, but there is a certain, like, if he's wearing those, something's going on, right? And because it is a risk, and then if someone's willing to take that risk, there's a courage to fashion, right? And there's that sort of courage, and then at the same time that I don't know what there's a very strong current to comfort right now, right? And that you guys like really fit in that current to comfort. And you look at footwear, like, trying to think of analogies. So Crocs, you're going to be offended by this,
No,
but don't be.
Creepers, like just
Creepers.
platform, but like no heel.
But
and
Crocs were like, it's a gardening shoe from Canada. And then a few people have the courage to be, it's like, they're amazing. They feel so great. And it blows up, right? Because it's kind of like, wow, you got orange shoes on, and they're made of foam. And I've never seen anything like that. And all you have to do is see them once to know, I got to check that out, right? They telegraph what they are from a great distance.
But slippers in general in high fashion, I think, have in the last few years been shown on the runway, and just like whether it's Prince Albert or.
But the runway still is not real life.
Right. But when you have $300 slippers, I still think you need to span the aspirational element of fashion or home, and the luxury investment with the practicality.
Where I go. So like Uggs is the other one that's a little bit of a similar thing to me. It's one thing to get women to wear Uggs. It's another thing to get guys to wear Uggs, right? And once you get guys to wear Uggs, and guys are wearing Uggs in public, all women know it's okay to wear Uggs. So where I go with these is, I want to see Von Miller, who's a football player.
Love him.
I want to see him after the game, because those guys,
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, they wear outrageous stuff, right? And it's part of the courage, and also the confidence to say, you know what? No fucks given by me. I have money, right? I have skills, I have talent, and I can wear whatever I want, and I will, and I'll set these trends. So I just feel like if you can get, and I think there's to me, this is just to me, right? But I like to think of as my après workout thing.
Yeah.
Sort of like those old,
I love that.
the Adidas that had the little like things and they would rejuvenate your feet.
Uh-huh.
Fuck those. This is like the most foot rejuvenating thing you could ever have going on. You don't have any on yet.
Not yet. So let's do that. We want to give you your pair.
Okay.
Let's do
Awesome.
that
I'm
right
so
now.
excited.
Perfect segue.
We want to see how they fit.
I am
How they feel.
genuinely so excited.
And we should have done this a long time ago, Courtney.
I was thinking, I love the fact that the sole
So
is
the
something
box
that
is
I can wear
beautiful.
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are beautiful. So I do wear them outside.
I love the bow.
I'm going to talk while you're unboxing.
Okay. It does feel feminine. I mean, again, in terms of thinking about getting men to wear this unboxing for me feels extremely intimate and beautiful, but it doesn't feel unisex or masculine. It feels very feminine to me.
Yeah, I would go with
We've
that.
evolved. I don't know, Alex, if you remember our first packaging was the backpack.
Yes.
And the idea behind that was to encourage portability. So if you go into a girlfriend's house, you pack them up and you put them in your bag and throw them over your shoulder. But you brought up a good point when we Skyped many months ago was you don't understand the value of the shoe with that backpack. This, I think, really conveys the luxury.
Yeah.
I agree. And I do love it. I just wonder again, as you try to think about expanding markets, if there's different boxes
I kind of like logo wise, I kind of like the logo, like one logo back. I was looking at some of the logos and I don't know if you saw
I
them.
saw it too.
Yeah. Did you feel the same way? It was
Yeah.
a little more hand done.
Yep.
And this one, I'm sure it's hand done, but it almost feels like a font.
Mhm.
And whereas the other one clearly not a
A
font,
little
and
more
I got that.
character.
Yeah, I got that character out of it.
I mean, I
So-
like the
Still in the same family, though. You could see it wasn't.
It wouldn't confuse anybody.
Okay.
No one's going to lose the thread, but I did.
But
I
for
did like one
but
back.
for luxury, you don't like the cleaner look.
It just feels slightly more stock to me.
I think you could do both. I think
But it's
Like,
not.
the
It's a really-
I get
quirkiness
that, but
of
it
the-
does feel
Okay.
because it's a little more refined.
Mm.
It's closer to a
Corporate.
font. Yeah, a font.
I thought
And I get a little bit more of I get more of a retro vibe. The other one felt more modern. This is probably taking us off topic because you can
But
have
that's okay,
success
right?
with it is okay. Well, I like to go way off topic. But you can have success with this logo. It's not like a problem.
Right.
It's just I preferred the other.
And I was just going to say slight imperfection even. There's ways to do it, I think, without necessarily totally changing. But what I liked about the first one was just it broke some of the rules of type and therefore felt a little bit more fun. And this feels more serious. So again, it's thinking about like overall how it's all laddering up all the pieces to communicate the same tone because you don't have a lot of money to spend to promote. So everything has to work so hard.
Right.
And I think have fun, be lustrous. It's an odd combo a little bit. I think like you could have something that's a little more playful without losing the elegance piece. I do, but I don't think you have to go in the total other direction. It's maybe more about like breaking the line.
It's a
or
pain. You've got it on the sole. Like I get it, but
no, but I'm
but you
curious
could
to see
phase
which
it.
one- Yeah.
I'll show you after the show.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And the three strings above the B represent the alpaca hair.
Mm-hmm.
I got that. Yeah. But it also
I
has
didn't
that
get that.
regal thing. Like I keep thinking regal animal. I don't know why, because of like on Alex's feet right now, he looks part human and part animal, but in a really, really cool way. And so I keep thinking there's some sort of like regalness to it, but it is kind of also has like an animal like quality, and that balance to me seems like a really cool at the heart of what goes on in your house and the sides of you that you bring out. And so
I love the luxury and just sort of the on-demand luxury of it too, right? So they're not inexpensive, but lots of shoes cost money. Lots of shoes cost $300, some cost $3,000. Like the fact that and it's not the only time I've done it. I've worn these in the office before, and it's amazing because they feel great. And then I've got people like walking up to me and like it's an instant conversation starter.
Yeah.
But
And-
even that could be cool, like office shoes.
Mhm.
Like you take
Yeah.
off your shoes when you
Yeah.
come to work. We have such casual workplaces today. So it doesn't have to just be for the home. It's for any inside space that you want to feel home-like. I was thinking also when you're talking about Von Miller and that these are people who spend a lot of money. They probably travel a lot. So the idea that you're bringing a piece of home with you or doing like a partnership with an airline or
Yeah,
Airbnb
rocking these
Plus
through the airport. Come
and
on.
having them when you fly first class, like where they hand them to you
Yeah.
or in the front
Yeah.
door of your fancy Airbnb right when you get there, because then it's like, what's that? And you buy them before you leave. So just like traveling and this like piece of comfort that's also beautiful that either goes with you, or if you're not going to take them with you, you do enough to get outside of the traditional home to bring a piece of home to these other spaces people are going.
Yeah.
Those are wonderful observations and two things that we've seen happen in real life. So we were contacted by a person that works for a fashion designer, Sharon Washup, and she used to wear her slippers to the office.
Mhm.
She would go every day and just put them on, and it created a lot of talk. People were talking
Mhm.
about it, a lot of buzz, and they contacted us. We explored the opportunity of doing a collaboration at some point. And then also there's a fashionista based in London who owns a store called Koibert, and every time she travels, she brings them with her, and she does Instagram stories.
Yeah.
Is that right, Leo?
Yeah.
And she's always posting. She's like, I never travel without these. I mean, that is on her feet. Like she's always bringing them. And then we wrote her, we're like, thank you so much for promoting. helping us promote.
I was thinking that it would be, I would love another sole. So there's this one. This is the house slipper, and then I've got an outdoor version that's got some traction and a little bit of grip.
Well,
to it.
Mojave solved that in their own way, which I don't think that they're beautiful or interesting at all, but they have that sort of snap on, snap off thing so that you can.
I like it as just a separate line, and then I got to decide: am I going with the like wear them out version, or am I like I actually want to hike in them? I want to do. I'm not kidding. Like I want a version I could like run the New York Marathon in, and if you could get some made, like there's the whole barefoot running thing, right? Like
Yeah.
with sandals, and like this has as much support.
I'd be curious to see. I do run.
Let's do it.
Yep, I'm gonna try it.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to do a
And-
run in these slippers.
And when you run in these slippers, that's going to create a scene.
I think my
it's going to
feet
be a
will be in
phenomenon.
pain, and I won't be able to wear them again unless they make me a special.
Put
sole,
yours
but-
on, Courtney.
Okay.
What I want to
More
do is I
away.
want to test how engaging the marketing would be if it shows up outside. So your thesis, I think, is you want to see how engaging it would be if you marketed it as a home accessory, right? This is great.
Mhm.
We actually have two different ideas. I
That's
love your
cool.
idea. I'm glad we're not competing because I think you're probably going to win. And then depending on what works, we'll baseline your marketing as it is, your visuals as they are,
Mhm.
which are lovely,
Thank you.
and then we'll create some things that are different, and we'll put those out alongside, and we'll just see what's getting the biggest engagement, which is essentially just clicks, right? Clicks and views is what we're going to be looking at. And then we'll come back and
I'd like to challenge you and add a purchase or add to cart metric on there.
So we're gonna go away,
I'll get
right?
your
And now
assets
through
for
the
you.
magic of podcasting, we are back through the magic of editing. We've gone ahead and done all the testing, and with the different ideas. Frank and Heather, you're in different clothes, we're in different clothes, but it seems like just minutes have gone by. But it was longer than that. It's been a while actually. Like I grew a beard since the last time we were together. I think it's probably going to be a pretty funny edit. Sorry, Frank, you were saying we're okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Time flies.
Yeah. And so we have some results from the testing that we want to go through and share with you guys. I think did Courtney beat me, guys? Why does this keep happening? I don't know if I like the format of the show, really. So, but it was really close. I'm looking at the results here. It seems like it was really close. but you can see about I don't know, was it almost a 5% spread, where people were more engaged with Courtney's idea than my idea. And your idea was about
sort of repositioning Baboosha as home goods, as sort of an
Yeah.
accessory for the home, luxury home accessory.
which I liked. I thought it was good. I was worried you might win. I hate to turn everything into competition, but I will anyway. So my idea was you got to wear these out.
Get out.
You know, get outside. Take your furry feet and take them outside.
Looking pretty good and I'm looking pretty fine. No, you're never gonna ever gonna get me off your mind. I'm a baller, I'm a boss, and I'm green like money. Sugar on your lips, call me anytime.
I don't think, you know, do we have a line how these did versus like all our baselines? Do we have that? It might be fun to show that as well. So we'll put that on the screen too, so you can see how it did against just, you know, all the stuff that we're testing. Was it higher or was it lower than our average? Yeah, but I don't have a line. It'd be really nice to have a line. Hey, next time. So anyway, we'll put it up on the video so you guys can see it. But it looks like
So you're
in
saying
general, we're a little, both ideas were a little south of the average CPB idea.
got it.
So it's not super dramatic. I don't know. I think you guys might have to keep working on this. You know, I think if you're going to choose one of our ideas, I would choose Courtney's and start there. And then what I would encourage is do the same thing that we did, you know, like take messages, and then test them. One of the easiest ways, which we didn't do here, is just AdWords. You can take strategies around like different things you would say as a brand and just buy a search term through AdWords, like fashion footwear, and then deliver that to a group of people and see what strategies and what messages are working best for you. I would definitely do that and just keep A/B testing and refining.
What's interesting about the results is the idea was born about developing a product that would make you feel glamorous and comfortable at your home at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that make you feel good. It's flashy, and it's really comfy. Throughout the course of time, particularly more recently, we've been receiving loads of inquiries about, can I wear these shoes outdoors? And you guys used some of the footage. We did that in our last campaign. We began to explore with some of the talent being outdoors, not running a marathon or at the nightclub or anything, but just, you're downstairs, you're getting the post, you're going to the boulangerie, you're getting the baguette. And when people write to us, this week, just someone wrote to us, say, can I wear these outdoors? And it made me think I need to communicate that more. So we did a story showing the thick Vegeton leather sole and saying, look, this is designed for the home, but we use a thick Vegeton leather sole so you can go outdoors.
Alex was talking last week, and I think it's interesting, particularly as it relates to a style brand like Baboosha, of just how rational young consumers are, millennials. And it's almost interesting to me to that a lot of these Instagram brands and direct to consumer brands are winning on not overselling, but like being very functional and rational about what's great about their product. So like going big, let's say, on the sole, while having an aesthetic that's very appealing and emotional, but letting almost the vibe do the talking emotionally while the product points are very rational.
Yeah.
Don't try to oversell me on romance copy. It's like just tell me you've got this vegetal leather, thick leather sole, and like let me see someone walking outside in it in a way that I'm like, oh, I like that person.
Yeah, they're great around the house, but you can take them hiking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or
Like,
just even showing
well, I
someone
think it
hiking
feels-
with them is like an interesting, provocative visual.
You're coming around to my idea.
No, I've been thinking a lot about it. Yeah.
What do you guys think about like when you're a brand new brand and you need to build awareness? It's a totally different challenge than people already know who you are. And so like some of the brands that I work with, they are brand new and they are in like the startup world and they're experiencing what we call brand debt, kind of like tech debt. You're cashing checks on these like short-term message ideas rather than building a brand. These ideas I think can be brand ideas, but I'd just love to hear your sort of philosophy on that with newer brands.
Well, I would build on what you were saying before. If you look at millennial brands, they tend to have a rational core, and we've spent most of our career doing totally emotional work, right? And with the premise that we connect with you emotionally, and then later you buy from us, right? But if you look at millennial brands, I don't think that the successful ones are like that. So the brand tool that we used to use that I actually love even more for millennials is just rational core and emotional wrapper. So I think you can go into that debt more when you're not offering something of true value. You know, what is the real value of this thing? So I think it's interesting because if the value of this is it spans everywhere from like your living room and relaxing to like, and hiking's kind of a joke, but you can't.
It could be fun and provocative,
you can actually run a marathon in them. You know,
be fun to see.
It'd be great to see. Yeah. So that just really that just speaks to quality in a way that is proving it instead of saying it.
But I think it's also visceral because it's like you're scrolling. People are deciding on brands and what stories they follow.
God, it's true. If I saw like a model running in the New York Marathon with the number on,
totally stop and catch your attention.
You have to figure it out. I
feel like storytelling was so big for so long that everyone went overboard on making up a story, whether it was manufactured or not manufactured. I think everybody now has so much access to info. They don't need you to tell them the story through copy. And so therefore just stick to like what's true and real and authentic about the product and let me decide. And part of that deciding comes through sort of the visual identity piece of it to go along with that very rational messaging. But I feel like it's like any relationship. Like brands are so eager to prove now that they get you that they forget that a relationship is two-sided and you have to know who they are and get them and decide if you want to invite them into your world too. So we've like overcorrected on trying to prove we get you, but like it's not so bad to say this is who we are and this is what we make. Yeah.
Well, you know, there's a trick I like to, even with well-known brands, I like to think, what's the Kickstarter for this brand?
Yeah. What's the elevator?
Yeah. Pitch? So if you're working on Coors Light, what's the Kickstarter? What would it look like? The video
to get
if
people
they were
to
just
pay
coming
money
out with
for
Coors Light. And so it forces you to realize this generation's different. There's got to be a real core value prop. And so you could do it for yourself too, you know, like launching the Kickstarter about the
why you need these things,
the fur footwear that's like the most epic and wonderful and most and maybe always appropriate is you know, you can the anytime every day fur footwear, right? I love that because it's just you're so committed that you're like there's never a time that you shouldn't be wearing these.
It's like you're thinking of your consumers though almost as investors in your brand, like that product is an investment in like where they put their money. It's just
I have a friend who was on Shark Tank and he makes these sandals, running sandals, right? And they're super stripped down. It's like just a rope and a strip of leather,
kind of like in Africa what they run.
And he's so committed to them. His marketing's not great, but he's so he as a person. He wears them every day, all the time, including when there's a foot of snow.
Yeah.
And he's trained his feet to not fall off.
It's like Wim Hof method.
Yeah, a little Wim Hof action. But I love that, you know, I mean, like, I love that at the core of the brand.
There's this wonderful person. She's her name is Kelly Oxford. She's a New York Times bestseller author, and she's a director out in LA. She's got we sent her a couple of pair, and she sends us photos of her wearing them. The last photo we received from her, she's in the middle of the desert with a robe, like a nightgown, wearing her Baboosha. And it's really fantastic. So we're beginning to explore that space of posting images on Instagram of real people who are sending us their photos.
Yeah.
And it's working out quite well.
I do think in the testing, it was, we're working with found footage and stuff, and it was a little challenging to really get the premise of these being everywhere, any time. And when you look at the videos, you may see that. And if you're starting to see traction around this idea, I do think as those kind of images come in, and as as you refine, like, how do I quickly tell that? I think the marathon running idea, like that tells it in a split second.
Well, it's also why I think
really powerful.
Alex's idea and my idea aren't necessarily mutually exclusive, because the video that I was wanting to base my my video on was a New York Times piece, like a 1 minute 30-second piece that the New York Times did on Jenna Lyon's house, her apartment, and she wears Baboosha at the end, but you're getting to see inside her apartment. She's a designer, she's a creative, she's a fashionista, and then you just sort of see her lounging around and walking around in her Baboushas, and it feels ambient. And I'm like, this feels like content that I would consume, be entertained by, and then be like, oh, and I want those. And so it's like it's making sure that the Baboushas don't go in the closet, like that they're out and about. So whether that's out and about in your home or out and about all over town, I just feel like that it's the same general premise of making sure they're not something that lives in your behind closed doors.
Frank, have you worn them to the airport?
I think a dude wearing them to the airport would be amazing.
I want to do it. Like, I'm inspired by your story.
You would.
Yeah.
I have to admit that I was ready to do it, and I didn't.
He's not as brave as me. How could that be?
I do it when I fly long haul. On flights, I certainly do it. I have no shame walking up and down the aisle of the plane with my Baboosha. But not. You haven't gone through security. Like, I want to go through security with them.
I haven't done it at the airport.
Yeah.
I wear them around town.
No,
Alex, if you do it, I'll do it.
Okay, I'm planning to do it. I'm going to do it. My favorite thing in the world is to and I'm kind of shy, but I love it when I can make other people. It's not so much turn heads. It's more like ask questions, confuse the hell out of them, Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. And adults are like, they're thinking, okay, this is hot, I don't know about it, I gotta like search it. That would be my reaction. I'd see somebody in it, I'm like, I gotta search, I gotta find out what's going on. So
the most magical thing about these shoes is how soft they are. So if somebody's willing to ask me about it, I let them touch it on the top, and they're like, wow, so
I'll tell you, for you guys as a young brand, anybody who buys it and wears it, in public, it's a bigger win for you. So it might be interesting as a brand to encourage that behavior, reward that behavior, and figure out a way to gamify that behavior, because it's definitely a bigger win as they expose other people to it. And you absolutely have a hard time when you see somebody with them on, not jumping to Google to figure out what's going on,
or just wanting to stop and stare. Yeah. I think it's better than anything you could do directly.
Yeah.
We're beginning to get repeat orders. So same people in LA and London, which are our biggest markets, buying 2 and 3 pair at a time on the second go. For me, it's unusual. It's not a behavior that I would expect.
The other thing that I noticed too, there's like a big push around taking Airbnb to the next level of where everything is for sale. In some of these places, or doing inns and whatever. Yeah. And I feel like finding some of those kinds of like partnerships with Airbnb Plus or their Luxe division, where it's just like the right audience and they can buy them on the spot. Because seeing and touching,
they're giving me the spiraling finger sign that our time is up, and this has been really. I mean, it's been great to work with you guys. I'm super excited that. In the time since we last met, some of what we talked about is already like beginning to help you, and you're doing your own thing. So that feels good, because we're here to help, and so it feels like we helped a little bit. Heather and Frank, thanks for coming on the show. For show notes, go to thewoodshedShow.com, And we will see you next time. Thanks for listening.